Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Here is the updated leather working stuff video. So the last one was basically to get you started, and this is the sad depths in which you can dive doing leather working stuff. So this is a Vito Pro Pack. It's not even all of it either. Like, there's so much, but we're gonna go through this guy. So I'm gonna get us set up here. Rooster, why are you always all up in my stuff, bruh? Had enough of your attitude. Okay, I'm just gonna take stuff out and then I'll talk about it. There's so much stuff in this thing, like, it's ridiculous. And the sad reality is, like, this isn't all of it. Like, I have totes that are Rooster! But I have totes that are just chilling, like, full of stuff. And like, we're not even these. I'm going to talk about these guys first, since we're here like this. Let's talk about these guys. So, in amongst all of this, these are some things that I would suggest getting while you're doing things, or early on in your doing of leather stuff, crafting, whatever you want to call it. And what these are kits, and they're relatively inexpensive from what I have found. Most are under 10 bucks. So, that being said, man, this thing could take hours. So, we'll probably have to make this multiple parts. Alright. So, these little kits, like this one, grommet kit. This general stuff is actually pretty good from what I have found. And it'll come with all of the tools you need to put grommets in something of a specific size. These are snaps. And most of the time when you get one of these kits, it'll come with, like, these aren't the best in the world right here. But it came with everything, hole punch and a setter, both pieces. And most all of them will have the stuff inside of them. And I got these just for different projects. Chicago screws, different colored ones. Copper rivets, more grommets that fit my grommet kit, more buttons, snaps. But in creating things, these come up. This is like a Chicago screw assortment with the punch. Use that for putting leather to the sheaths, kydex, leather pouches to leather danglers or whatever to kydex. But yeah, there's a ton of these things, and I have even more than these. But and it starts getting pretty crazy. So like let's say you start with the leather or the copper stuff. Well, if you get copper stuff, then you need one of these setters as well as a hammer. And as well as those, you'll need some nippers. And there's some, these are Nippex. That's good stuff. Oh, you can definitely tell a difference between they look the same, but the Nippex cuts way better than the El Cheapos. And with them, you would also need a ball peen hammer and some sort of anvil. I got a couple. I got a cast and a steel over here. So depending on which one, and I have a small cast iron anvil right there too. Well, to put holes in things, to put rivets in, then you start getting into the punches. And there's so many different types of punches. I mean, there's some that just look like chisels, like these guys. Rooster, stop it. They don't care. They don't care if you're being bad, okay? Lots and lots of different types of punches. They're strode through this bag. But you'll have punches as well as this style punch. This is Nippex, and this is also General. Both of these are good. The General is the same brand as these guys, but they allow you to choose a different size punch and just punch like that versus picking it out and putting it on something and hitting it with the hammer. So putting holes in things also is gonna bring up awls, and I like awls, but there's so many different flavored awls. Like there's big, crazy, fancy awls. There's little bitty, inexpensive awls. Like, let me start digging through this thing. Oh, before we get to awls, let's talk about these punches. This style punch for putting holes in stuff. It basically cuts. Can't get it to focus. It essentially cuts the leather, but you can get these in all different styles. There's also some that got a grommet kit that has interchangeable teeth, kinda. So depending on speedy stitcher and all, but depending on how many holes you need to put as you're going down through there, depends on how many are on the end of that punch. But awls are also a pretty simple way to put holes in things. Here's one that I've got super excited with. Trying to poke it in things. These are pretty inexpensive and good for widening out holes. So say I'm going to put, and this is just an example, but say I'm going to put a grommet in something and the hole is not quite big enough, I can stick this down in it and stretch it out and then drop my Chicago nut or whatever it is, Chicago screw, down in this hole. It's just another way of poking holes in things, or lining holes up. Like, very handy pieces of gear. On top of awls and like speedy stitchers and stuff, there's also the punches and all. Dude, I have so much stuff. This is ridiculous. So depending on what you're doing, would depend on, you know, hole size and all, how many you have to do. You can get some punches at Harbor Freight that are used for different gasket materials. They work pretty good on leather too. But another thing I talked about yesterday that I didn't cover when I did our purchase is cutting tools. So some pretty decent heavy-duty shears or razor knives like these, utility knives. Small Stanleys. But those are something that's pretty crucial to do in leatherwork also. And for the most part, it's going to be your basic gizmos and gadgets for really rudimentary leather stuff. And as you progress doing things to make them fancier and fancier, you'll start getting into different weird looking tools like this, as well as these that I have, but I don't do much with them. So if you have made something from leather and it's just plain Jane and you want to put some texture on it, that's where all these different things come into play. So there's a whole bunch of different types of pieces that make imprints in the leather. And you would wet the leather and then just go through and pick out a pattern. Come on, there. And you would just go through and make a pattern with this stuff. But this is fancier than I like to get a lot of times, but I do have those. This guy right here, it creates a recessed piece that puts your threads lower than the outside of your leatherwork. And you go around the edge, and it, like, I don't really know what this thing's called, but I know what it does. You just go around the edge like this. You would set your length on this piece, and as you run it down through there, it would cut out a little sliver of leather. I have a hard time getting that stuff lined up when I do it. So I have one of these, but I don't get to use it that often because I mess up. This is a handle for another one of those. Another way to put a gauge a space on something with this. I rarely use that either. I just kind of wing it and go with it. Just like this is also for, you can't hardly see right there, but you would do it to get hole spacing. So you have a even, when you stitch it up, this leaves an even mark on your leather, and you can see where to put your needle in each one. That's also what this is. It's another type of awl. This guy is going to be in the basic gizmos too. It's going to be a same thing I use this for, but sometimes I'll put this in the drill and I rub it on my leather. It burnishes the leather. Looks kind of wonky, but this would go on the edge of your leather. It would burnish the edge and make it nice and shiny. And there's a million different types of threads, sandpapers, needles. This is a video just to show you guys how much stuff there, and this is nothing. I mean, there's somebody that has an actual leather shop would probably have 10 times this much stuff. But it doesn't take this much stuff. I've got a bunch of this has been birthday presents and Christmas presents and stuff, and I've got bits and pieces, and a lot of it is specific to one thing. You know, like these kits, they're for one thing, and a lot of times they come with everything you need minus a hammer to put things together. You know, like if you're doing the copper rivets, there's several things that you have to get to go with that to do that one specific thing. But yeah, it's not hard to get too crunk on this stuff. And before you know it, you have 100 different types of little leather, I don't even know what you call the artistic leather dyes. I don't know what you call those, really. But this was just a fun video. Makes me regret how much junk I have. But it gives me the ability to create things. All I gotta do is put a little effort behind it. I have a bunch of stuff to do it, but then you end up with a big bag of stuff like that. Beetle Pro Pack's a pretty awesome bag. But anyway, I have too much leather work and stuff and don't do enough leather work. Just be careful when you start jumping into things. I'm not telling you guys what to spend your money on, but it's not hard to accumulate a bunch of stuff, especially in the bushcraft world or DIY. But anyway, good luck on your leather work and stuff. We're going to keep on going down with the stuff that we got and just show how much we can accomplish with just that stuff on some DIY videos from start to finish, unedited on here. I appreciate the support. Feel free to follow along, like and subscribe. Check out my Instagram at BushcraftKelso, bushcraftkelso.com for gizmos and gadgets. And I appreciate the support, guys. Later.